My name's Charlie Towers, with Tower Signs. I've been in business since about the early 80s, late 70s. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I actually came here. I went to Votech and drafting 3 years and came here and took mechanical engineering back in the mid-70s. I'm an old folk fart, if you will. I traveled for 10 years all over the country, putting in compounding plants for O.E. Newton and Eastern Equipment, handling everything from $500,000 to $5 million projects as a project engineer. Doing that, I travel a lot. Sometimes I'll be gone 5 or 6 weeks and never see home, and that didn't go over well with my newly born children and my wife, so I made a career change and decided to get into this. A little while when I grew up, tore my fair share of cars up, and I got into painting cars and then doing airbrush. Back in my day, airbrush was big on vans and doing things, and then doing lettering. I got into sign business a very weird way. I'm self-taught. I guess I should hit this button every once in a while just to change it. This just kind of shows you several things we do. I started out teaching myself. I'm self-taught. I started hand painting back when we did it by hand, laid things out by hand. I still hand paint. Most of my hand painting's done now. One of my niches, so we got into doing gym floors. I've coached for most of my life, and they came to see for doing the gym floor, and the artist couldn't do the artwork that the coach at the time, Charlie O'Donnell, wanted. And I raised my hand and said I could paint that on the floor. And they said, you can do it? I said, yes, I'm a sign painter. I can do it on the floor. So I have done, I don't know, 700 or 800 gyms. A lot of colleges you'll see on UMS, University of Maryland, Rutgers, George Mason, George Washington. I've done a lot of college floors that you will actually see on TV through the NCAA games. Thing was, after about 6 or 8 years, technology hit our industry and vinyl cutting machines came along, and it was new to us. We did everything by hand. Everything I needed was in a sign box. That's all I needed to paint everything. I probably had $5,000 or $6,000 in brushes, because if you buy good brushes, they cost a lot of money. I now spend more on that for updates on software, you know, just to update the equipment. We've gone fully automatic over the years. Where I used to hand carve wood, now we put it in machines, and it's a CAD system, a milling machine. We call it automatic routers. It does all the routing, the chiseling, and all that stuff for us. And we don't have to do hardly anything by hand anymore. Like this back of this boat's all vinyl. 95% of what we do now is vinyl or printed. And it's becoming more and more print. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So we've evolved over the years. I don't know why I keep getting an echo. Like this here, this matches the carpet. This is the design on the guy's carpet in his bowling lanes. So we took pictures of the carpet and reproduced the artwork and printed these. And that's one of the things I've evolved to the new things that I should be talking about. We've gone from everything from hand painting to a very basic machine cuts vinyl. 18 versions of that machine. We used to have to take and put on little tiny dots to eliminate pixels when we first started. The technology's come a long way. Now we have plot points and we change things around. I was one of the first 3 people in the state of Delaware bought a printing machine, and it was only printed 11-inch wide strips. But we could print your face on things or whatever. Now we've gone to, and for a long while that outdid itself. The printing technology went to large format. Now you see a lot of things, billboards, whatever, it's large format printing. And we subbed that out for a while because of cost of the equipment and, for one thing, room. Limited room, and those things had odors for the inks and things like that we couldn't vent or get rid of properly. Since then, the technology has moved again. Now we've gotten into large format printing. I don't know how I lived without it. My people will print something faster in a heartbeat now as opposed to cutting vinyl. They just print it wholly. If we have a 4x8 sheet of plywood, you see these for sale signs up down the road. vehicles. We print 4-foot sheets, and we just take the whole 4-foot by 8-foot decal and stick it on a piece of plywood. We don't cut vinyl anymore. We certainly don't hand paint. Back in the day, it would take, I could maybe paint 2-3 signs a day. Thing was, I was getting 400 hours for it 30 years ago. I'm still only getting 400 hours for it, but now I can do 10 in a day because of technology. So I won't get any more per sign, but I'm doing 10 times the volume in work. Also that, the message nowadays has evolved to where people don't want signs up anymore where it just says a message. They want to change the message. I'm just going to click through some of these sometimes so you see some of the, I custom built this thing for the Boy Scouts. They need a chariot, so we actually do a lot of fabrication in our shop because we have to build big light signs and everything else, so I have all the tools. Billboards, this is a printed banner. At one time, I would have painted that by hand and done it, and still could, but nowadays, billboards are printed banners. They're 10 foot by 40 foot, you wrap them, almost everything you see now is printed, and that's where we use the large format printer. Vehicles, here's another billboard banner that you'd print. This school we did the gym floor, and then we ended up doing all the signs on the walls. But if you see a vehicle, I don't know if I got one of those pictures in here. You get a wall print. This was hand painted on a wall in Washington. I forget the name of the school. One thing you don't see, the glass wasn't in, but we actually put decals on the glass so it looks like they had shattered the glass when the rams hit the glass, but the glass wasn't in place at the time when we took the picture. This looks like a brick around the sign. There's not a brick in it. It's all done with foam. We can do it cheaper than the mason could lay brick. We can make things look like brick. We can do a little everything. This is sandblasted. Just all types of different signs. These are all sandblasted bricks. I was trying to find one of those vehicles that we wrapped. We do a lot of work for FedEx. Here's one. This is a large print. They took and they did all of this. Atlantic Products does all that vinyl for the steps on the outside of decks. So we put a large print on that large format printer. This is where we're going. And we put it on the vehicle or big sign or whatever. We did the other thing, like I said, with the mark is we do LED signs now, the electronic signs. You're seeing those everywhere. That's a big thing. Nobody wants to just put a message up anymore. They want to put a message up every 8 to 10 seconds and change it. We've had to evolve and change. That's something I didn't do 10 years ago, so it's too much trouble. It's what the market wants. It's where the market's going. So we've had to evolve over the years. We've had to change where we go to force format printing and the LEDs because people want to see their pictures. They speak 1,000 words. And they want to change their messages a lot. And that's kind of where we've gone and where we've had to do. We'll scan through these pictures while we're taking answers, but I guess if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Thank you very much. We're glad that you're here to share this with us.
Again, I wasn't high tech at the point where you're working with my, well, if I have to sit here and hit this button.
Questions?
Hi, do you also do like the removable vehicle decals?
Yes. The vehicle wraps are somewhat removable. Then you can, if you see the dealerships where they have the prices and all that, they're actually like magnetic letters that are being cut, and you can stick them on, and you just take them off. Basically, the magnetic industry's been around forever. You do magnetic signs, and they just evolved it to where you can cut out letters and put it on there. But if you wrap a vehicle, that actually is able to come back off. So if you wrap a complete vehicle, you don't think, well, what am I going to do when I sell it? You can take it all off. And it's not as hard as you think. It takes a little while. In fact, the very first vehicle I ever did, I had to take it back off. I bought a material that I went to a 3-day training school. I used the same product I used at the training school thinking it would be a good product, and I was wrong. It failed. And 2 months later, I had to strip the whole complete vehicle down and do it all over again. And I did it, no arguments, and the client was happy. I mean, I took care of the client, but it's a learning curve. I'm sure you had in your business, you know, you used what I thought was a good product, it turned out to be, and so it took me about 3 hours to take the whole vehicle off. So you can take it off and do it, but that's one way you use the right material. There's certain vinyls for everything. These vinyls go on motorcycle fenders because it has a higher plastisol content in it because it's flexible. There's vinyls that actually go to that block, well, that's what I said, block that cushion or where you actually put it on a brick or block wall and it'll actually form to it, so there's vinyls for everything in the world.
Do you have a graphic design part of your business, or do you rely on your customer for that idea?
We, I guess I'm going around. Oh, this is one of the LED signs, I'm sorry. The LED signs don't take very good pictures because they're always moving, you know, with the message, but that's one of the electronic signs. We ask the client to have some basic idea what he wants, obviously, but I have one person that just pretty much that's all she does is design, cut vinyl, and then sometimes I do designs. We have our own expertise. I got a little different design flavor than she does. If you actually study signs long enough, you'll see, you can almost tell who does it from one shop to the other. We all have our styles and our flares. Certain colors we like, but a lot of times nowadays, with the programs right there, Adobe's, and I'm sure you probably have some of your staff that can do a lot of design. Delaware Tech probably has their own design people. A lot of times they'll bring their own artwork, and we will tweak it because you'd be amazed how I've got some gorgeous artwork that they will put on one of them was a candy box. We tried to convince them they won't work on a sign. Your vehicle's moving at 50 miles an hour running down the road. It looks gorgeous on this box. And sometimes we can't, and we do it, and then they're like, well, our clients say they can't read it. It's a whole different design process when I got to catch you moving down the road at 50 miles an hour as opposed to sitting in front of you on a business card. And so we have to sometimes really talk hard and tweak them out of it.
Thanks, Charlie. I have to put a plug in for you because you're the Mr. Rotarian of Sussex County, much less Seaford. And being so civic-minded as you are, maybe you can explain what you're going to do with the Rotary signs throughout this county.
Yes, if I will put in the 10-second plug, I'll shame myself. If you ever thought about joining any group in the world as a volunteer, I would highly recommend Rotary. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Most outstanding group of people I've ever been involved with. I've won several awards. If you walk outside, you'll see my truck. It's got a Rotary tag in it. I am pretty serious about it. And it's the best group of people I've ever been involved with. So if you ever think about it, at least look us up. Other than that, yes, the Rotary is, we're putting a program together so that we will put new signs up for almost all the clubs around here, hopefully. They update them. A lot of our signs, I know Seaford's signs are old. They're faded so bad you can't even hardly read them. So we've standardized the system, and we're putting it on our website where you can look it up and buy a standard system for your Rotary Club so they're all matched. And that's uniformity. So you have, it's like McDonald's or any place else. We're handing a manual. You got to do it so you know it's McDonald's or Hardee's or whatever. We're trying to do it with Rotary, so you know it's Rotary. When you see a sign, you recognize it automatically. And we're coming up with a whole system and putting that together. And that's what we can help with, help program a program for you and put something together.
Thanks, Charlie. Two questions. One is, would you talk a little bit about your task team, the team that works with you to get that your supply can meet your demand? Question number two is, I noticed that the majority of the signs that you have and the work that you've done is predominantly on the western side of the county. Is that your primary focus?
On the second question, yes, we try to stay within an hour drive if we can. I can't keep up. Up until about 5 years ago when the recession hit, I didn't know what advertising was. I have found if you've got a good name, you stand behind your product, if you mess up, kind of like the car, if I take, not a problem, sir, we'll strip it and redo it, my cost. You get a name for yourself. I haven't had to advertise. I couldn't keep up. For 30 years, I look up and I was 5, 6 weeks out. If you came to me, I couldn't even get to you for 6 weeks. So as Doug Morty's passed on since then, but at any rate, you don't ask for work you can't handle. I also chose to stay small because I couldn't find enough talented personnel. I was asked a question earlier, whatever make me get out of business, it'd be employees. You know, I found that when I got to 10 or 12 people a couple times, I was just hiring bodies. I couldn't get talent. One, it drives me nuts because I care about my work, and I go home and my wife would listen to me complain for the first 20 minutes every night. And two, I didn't want to give you bad work. You know, I'd rather not have it at all. So we were sort of backed up. Now, things changed in that 4-year recession. We survived very well, and there was a lot of good companies that went down. I'd like to think because we stand behind a product and got a good name, we survived. Now I'm back up to 7 people. I'm finding, slowly I can find a little bit, you know, trying to grow a little bit and find better people than what I was having, you know, before when I tried to expand a couple times. And we're doing it very slowly. I could expand to 15 tomorrow if I could find the right people. The work's out there, our name is good, and we try to do good work and solve problems. The first question is about tasks. I'm sorry.
The team you just said.
Okay. Yeah, I have 7 people. We all have our things. I've got people that they work in the field. They install. They do installations and repairs. That's all they do. I got design people. I got office people. I got one girl right now. I was doing nothing but trying to make us paperless. She's been working on for 4 months. Every file I've got in my system, we're scanning and trying to go paperless and create a faster way as a program. Like every industry has a program that runs your business. We're trying to put all this data in the system, so I just literally answer 2 or 3 questions. It spits out a quote with a material list, the labor, everything that we need, instead of me sitting there 2 days a week doing that over and over and over.
So I heard job creation. I love it. So I have 5 people sitting here today who are looking for a job similar to what you've been profiling there. What type of skills are you looking for? Skill and experience.
Well, first off, from my coaching background, just common sense and a desire to want to do well. I mean, you know, good work ethic. We can teach you a lot of things. I can't teach you good work ethic or common sense. You know, and I can't teach heart. And when, you know, I can teach you how to do the right footsteps on the basketball court, but I can't teach you heart. So we're looking for good people to care and want to try to do right. As skills go wise, I mean, it all depends. I mean, I've got designers to installers, you know. In the design industry, it's not the easiest business to be in. I'm an electrician. I mean, I don't know if this sign here, there's steel inside it. First off, my mechanical engineering doesn't help me because I have to design for wind loads 100 mile an hour. I've got to design that. There's a steel structure inside that. There's lights in that thing. There's faces. There's aluminum. Right there, I've got to be a welder, a fabricator, electrician, a sheet metal man, and a rigger because I have to put that thing up. I got to dig a hole. I got to put concrete in. I got to figure the anchor bolt size and all that stuff. And I've got to lift this thing up in the air, bolt it together, weld on site, and make it work. I just did name about 6 skills in that one job. I'm a carpenter. I've actually built furniture for my daughters. I've built complete bedroom suites, furniture, desks, dresser drawers. Because of the skills I have to have this, I have those skills. We have to be literally the jack of all trades. Now, that doesn't mean every person in my industry does that, but I have to have a person that has maybe 4 or 5 skills because I can't keep it one person just wiring signs. I mean, I might build this week and might build another for 2 weeks where I might do 10 vans in the middle.
Additional questions? Mike is ready.
I would make one more comment. The one thing I do, if you were wanted looking for some kind of advertising thing like this, I really like the sign business. I did take a 7-month leave of it once to help a friend get the car store started because I know a lot about cars too. I found I like to work and want to come back. What I like about it is I'm not sitting at a desk designing every day. You might be a designer, but you can even get tired of that. One day I'm building this. The next day I'm sandblasting a sign. Next day I'm lettering a truck. Maybe next day I'm working on the gym floor. It's never the same repetitive thing. Now, I'm probably the only one in my business that has those 40 skills, but most of my people have 10 or 12, and I can put the, they like it because they're not sitting, they love to get up from the design desk and go out and work in the field and paint for a couple of days. God knows she loves it every once in a while because it can get monotonous. So you do have a lot of different things you can do, and it's not monotonous. I do like that part of it. If you're ever thinking of something like that, if it helps you. Yes?
Thank you, Charlie. That was a great presentation. I just had a question. I was looking at the car that was wrapped, I think Laurel Police Department.
Yes.
How long does that type of process take?
Well, that was just vinyl. It wasn't even a wrap. With our technology nowadays, that job from start to finish, once we get the car in, we measure it, we cut it, we stick it on, 3 hours. Now, I wish I didn't come as prepared as you did. You've embarrassed me, made me look bad in front of everybody, so you're now off my Christmas card list. But, a vehicle wrap, like you do a van or all the way around, I know you've seen them with neat flames and whatever. It takes me about 2 days to wrap a vehicle like that. And it'll take them probably another 8 to 10 hours to print the wrap and laminate it and sometimes we can end up with anywhere from 4 to 20 hours design time. We actually now in our quotes include so much design time and after that so much an hour because people are, because of the technology nowadays used to. When I first started, we took a pencil and drew it on a piece of paper. This is the God's truth. And we put a line through the middle of it and took coloring pencils and colored on 3 or 4 of the letters and said, this is going to look like. I'll never forget it. When I first got a printer, I thought I was hot shit. I don't have to color in with coloring pencils. I'm selling $600 signs 40 years ago. I'm using coloring pencils that my daughter had, coloring them in, But that's what you did. I mean, you didn't have any other way. A lot of times we'd walk up to this car and we'd take a grease pencil and we'd just start laying out on the car and say, well, we're going to put police here and this and that and so forth. Every hand painter doesn't have a repertoire of 400 letter styles I can do. I had half a dozen, and I chose one that's half a dozen because I hand painted it. I couldn't know every font. Nowadays, I got 3,000 fonts sitting on a computer I can pick. It's almost too many.
Following up on painting cars, as you can see by the gray hair on my head, I go back to custom cars and pinstriping. If these car clubs here that are very prevalent here in Delmarva Peninsula would come to you for pinstriping their vehicles, do you have enough time in the day to actually take on pinstriping?
Is that still there? Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes, it would be me. We use vinyl to pinstripe, but I still can hand pinstripe. I did a motorcycle helmet and a motorcycle for Chet's about 5 or 6 months ago, and I got the old brushes out, and you hold it like this, and you learn. I can follow just a slightest crease in the car with my fingertip. You get the feel, and I can pull a straight line right down that car with a brush.
Yeah.
That's what it did. Did it a long time before vinyl came along, but yes, we do still have. I'm the only one. I don't have anybody in my industry anymore in my business because they've all moved on. I've only had really only one good hand painter ever work for me, but we worked two of us together and had somebody in the office, and that's what we did for 20 years. There's 3 of us, and we just handled what we could handle. Again, I was 6-7 weeks out. Technology has made it a lot faster for me to get to you.
The other thing that I picked up on in my short encounter as being a client of yours was the fact that you're a systematic problem solver. And if you remember when I came to you with a problem and I thought I knew the answer, you said, well, now wait a minute, I'll take charge of solving your problem, and you came up with the best solution. And I think if there's something that you can impart to our younger members is the fact that systematic problem solving is the essence of a lot of the work.
I find with even my own staff or anybody else, I use the term, don't overcomplicate it. People can see something and they get all excited, oh my God, I can't handle that. I did a drawing when I was at Del Tech. Mr. Gibson was our teacher. And it was exploded isometric of a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Well, it looks big and complicated. I got news for you. It's just 1,000 straight lines with little circles everywhere. If you break down something that's very basic and don't let it blow you away and overcomplicate it, it's not that hard. So, I mean, again, it's just, I guess I'm very lucky. I can see the stuff in my head. I struggle with electronics. I cannot see air. I cannot see electronics going through the air. I struggle with that, and that's why I know the boss mind. Know your limitations. I have people on my staff that handle it for me because I don't understand it. But I can see the boards and nails and all. But the thing is, don't overcomplicate it. Just look at it, simplify it, and break it down in little tiny pieces. First thing you know, you got the solution.
Time for one more question.
Coach,
Guy,
can you give us the top 10 keynotes of starting a business? in
Top
your
10
own
keynotes
words?
of-
Yes, the keynotes of starting your own business in your own words.
10. Boy, that might
10.
be tough. One, I went in probably under-financed. In my particular case, I said I was doing this part-time when I was traveling and all. I had what I had pretty much like a physical breakdown. I was operating on about 20 hours sleep a week, running a business and working my engineering job, and it created serious health issues for me, so I had to change. But I probably went in a little under finance. You got to have some money. You just don't walk in and think you're going to start a business up and make money first day. You're going to make a little bit, but you're not going to make enough to survive on. You need to walk in a little bit prepared with that. You've got to be excited about it because it's going to take long hours. Even once I started my business, I still was probably only getting 5 or 6 hours sleep, but I wasn't on the road as much either. I told you I was gone sometimes 6, 7 weeks. And I would tell you, I loved the work. I missed that work. It was very satisfying to start a $5 million project up and push the buttons and make you work. Very rewarding. I don't miss the traveling per se, but at least I was home at nights. But I still put in long days. And even now, most nights I'm there till 6:30, 7 before I go in for dinner. I probably still work 55 or 60 hours a week, but I love my work. I guess number 3, you gotta love what you do. If you don't, it's long, long days. You got to look for good staff. You got to find some good support because you can't do it without support. I got 7 people. And God knows there's times I want to kill them and there's other times I love them. But they're pretty good staff and they help me. I couldn't do it without it. I've often thought about cutting back to just 1 or 2 of us, and I'm getting on in age and maybe just slowing down a little bit. I don't know which half of you I would tell you I can't do your work anymore because I can't keep up now. Every day is trying to fight deadlines, so get good people, accountant. I mean, the accountant will help you start because I didn't know where to start the pricing. They will tell you how much you're going to need to spend in advertisement, how much you're going to need to spend in this, and how much profit you should have. They got the numbers. They say, look, you should make this or else you're not going to do it. I mentioned Doug Morris earlier. When I brought him on, the reason I brought him on is I worked every year hard. At the end of the year, I found out when I did my taxes, I didn't make out as much money as I thought I did. And we went at it and figured it out. So I don't know if I got 10 right off the cuff, but, you got to start with some of those basic things.
Thank you. Before we close, though, I did forget one very important question that we like to ask at the very end, which is, how can we as a community support you? What can we do for you?
Just think of us as a partner, I guess. I'm around. If you need some help doing this, any kind of advertising, got any questions, just call us and we'll try to help you. We've partnered with a lot of communities to help increase their deals. I'm a pretty serious volunteer, even on that level. If there's something you think that Ray can help you with or I can help with as a volunteer, we'll try to do that. Just think of us when we can, I guess.